you can count on us. This is 7 News Good Morning Fort Sill.
Well, good morning, and thanks for joining us for your midweek edition of Good Morning Fort Sill. You know, yesterday morning was pretty cold. I think in the mid to low 20s there. Ulysses, what can we look like? What are we looking like, at least for this morning? Because when I got up this morning, it felt a lot warmer than it did yesterday.
No, yeah, absolutely. Definitely not as chilly out there as what we had yesterday. Yesterday, definitely, like you said, we woke up into the lower 20s, some spots even down into the upper teens. This morning, though, we're waking up mainly into the mid to upper 30s here, 37 here at Fort Sill. There are other spots across Texoma, though, that are waking up a bit chillier and others a bit warmer. But that's something we'll talk about in a bit. But in the meantime, though, we have those winds at 13 miles an hour, and that's really what the reasons why our temperatures are warmer. It's really the fact that we have this wind kicking in mainly out of the southeast. So when you have that wind, it doesn't allow those temperatures to really drop off quickly, even though we are enjoying mostly clear skies here at this hour. Looking at those temperatures, we could still see those temperatures maybe drop off briefly to the lower 30s. It just depends if the winds do slack off here before sunrise. Looking at your Comanche Red River Hotel Casino Tower Cam, overall quiet conditions right now. And as we look at your day planner, we will see those winds pick up once again as we go throughout the day. We'll have another breezy day. The only difference is we're going to have a more northerly, northeasterly wind in play. That's going to allow those temperatures to cool down going into your Thursday. That also includes a chance of a wintry mix. We'll talk about that throughout the show.
Well, the man accused of shooting 2 National Guard soldiers near the White House last week has pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder and assault charges. KSW's Washington correspondent Emma Wolfhorst has more from D.C.
Romanila Lockenwall made his initial court appearance Tuesday from his hospital bed as he was also shot last week. The 29-year-old Afghan national is charged with first-degree murder, assault with intent to kill, and illegal possession of a firearm. According to court documents, Lockenwall drove from Washington State to D.C. Wednesday, November 26th. The DOJ says Lockenwall opened fire on 2 National Guard members at 17th and I Streets near Farragut West Metro Station. 20-year-old specialist Sarah Beckstrom was killed, and 24-year-old Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf is still in critical condition. Both were deployed to D.C. with the West Virginia National Guard. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro called this an ambush-style shooting.
This individual was brought into this country as a result of the largesse of the American people and the American government. And he betrayed us by shooting and killing one individual, and right now harming another individual that we hope will survive.
President Trump called the shooting a terrorist attack and said he wants to, quote, permanently pause migration from third world countries and expel millions of immigrants from the U.S.
This horrible event took place with this scum that is able to come into our country.
A D.C. Superior Court judge ordered Lockenwall to be held without bond pending a preliminary hearing. Pirro says that hearing will be January 14th. In Washington, Emma Wolfhorst.
Thanks, Emma. Well, West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey provided an update on the attack that killed one member of his National Guard. 24-year-old Andrew Wolf remains in serious critical condition. The governor says that Staff Sergeant Wolf is still fighting and that his condition has improved. He's been able to wiggle his toes and has reportedly responded to sounds in his room.
Melody, the mom, has been so positive a force, and she's been asking people across the country to pray for her son. These are wonderful people, and the family's going through a very difficult situation right now as Andrew fights to survive.
The governor is asking for continued prayers for Andrew and Sarah and their families. The National Guard held a private ceremony today to honor their fallen hero and pray for Andrew's recovery. The governor adding that the National Guard members in Washington, D.C. volunteered to extend their deployment. Well, during his final cabinet meeting of the year, President Donald Trump made clear that he personally had no involvement in the strike ordered on the alleged drug boat on September 2nd. Lawmakers from both parties are now questioning whether targeting helpless individuals in a shipwreck amounts to a war crime, and both the Senate and House Armed Services committees have launched separate investigations.
I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know anything about people. I wasn't involved in it. I knew they took out a boat. But I would say this, they had a strike. I hear the gentleman that was in charge of that is extraordinary. He's an extraordinary person.
Secretary Pete Hegseth said that he left the room ahead of the second attack, only learning of it about an hour or two later. Despite the congressional investigations, Hegseth said that the policy of targeting alleged drug boats from Venezuela will continue.
President Trump said, no, we're taking the gloves off. We're taking the fight to these designated terror organizations, and it's exactly what we're doing. So we're stopping the drugs, we're striking the boats, we're defeating narco-terrorists.
Secretary Hegseth reiterated that he had authorized Navy Admiral Frank Bradley to execute the operation. Bradley is expected to brief senior lawmakers about both military strikes and a classified session on Thursday. Recently, satellite images captured the USS Gerald Ford carrier strike group in the Caribbean. These pictures were captured on December 1st. It shows the USS Ford aircraft carrier anchored near the port in St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The USS steadily built up the largest military presence in the region since the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. Taking a look at your local military news, the Reynolds Army Health Clinic will be hosting their last Saturday flu drive this weekend. The immunization clinic will be taking place on Saturday from 9 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. The flu vaccine is available for ages 6 months and above. TRICARE Prime beneficiaries can get their flu vaccine at no cost at any pharmacy that accepts TRICARE, but just make sure that you bring documentation if you do get a flu vaccine off post. Community members and local organizations made their way to the Fort Sill National Cemetery in Elgin yesterday to pay respects to an unclaimed veteran. A burial service was held yesterday morning for Sergeant Richard Campbell. He served in the U.S. Army during Vietnam, serving from 1969 until 1979. The cemetery appreciates those that came out to honor one of our nation's heroes as he was laid to rest. And there is another unclaimed burial request for later this week. Army Private Averill Miller served during the Vietnam War period from October of 1964 to July of 1965. He will be laid to rest at 9 a.m. on Friday morning at the Fort Sill National Cemetery in Elgin. For more information, you can go to the Comanche County Veterans Council's Facebook page. Oklahoma Representative Daniel Pay is helping MacArthur High School JROTC cadets learn about different topics that can help them in life. He visited MAC yesterday and discussed the U.S. government, leadership, communication skills, and life after high school. Representative Pay answered students' questions and tried to stress the importance of constantly evolving and growing.
Well, I hope they take away that you don't have to have everything figured out in high school and college, even as an adult. And there are always things that I'm learning and challenging myself as a leader to make sure that I'm growing every single day. And I think with the ROTC program, that's what this program is geared toward.
I hope they take away that it's good to get involved. They should be involved. They need to know what's going on around them.
Lieutenant Colonel Charles Noble and Chaplain Jeremiah Snyder from 434th Field Artillery Brigade were at the studio yesterday. The Destroyer Brigade has thousands of brand new soldiers on ground at any given moment attending basic combat training. But there is one time every year that all gets paused, but for good reason.
Holiday block leave, or what we like to call HBL, happens every year from December to January. And we send about 5,000 local Fort Sill trainees and soldiers out across the globe. And this isn't unique to here at Fort Sill. This happens across all of what we call the Army Training Centers, or ATCs. And anybody in the individual entry training goes on holiday block leave annually. So here at Fort Sill, it's about 5,000. We're excited to have them do it, and it's a great opportunity for them to get out, get back with their families, recharge, and then come back to training.
So Lieutenant Colonel Noble was actually joined there at the desk with Chaplain Snyder, who's the brigade chaplain. So for soldiers that cannot go home for the holidays, Chaplain Snyder states that they have a lot of activities to spread cheer and help them relax while everyone else is gone and gone home for the holiday. Also, each year they do and adopt a soldier program for Christmas Day specifically. The cutoff for signups for that particular program was November 28th, but they are always looking for a few more volunteers. You can find out more information at 434 FA Brigade's Facebook page, or the email for Chaplain Snyder is at the bottom of the screen here, and you can email him and see if they still have more availability for volunteers, because it's a pretty cool program. Well, taking a look at south of the Red River, Shepherd Air Force Base will be hosting their annual tree lighting ceremony this evening. It all kicks off at 5 o'clock at the corner of Lieutenant General Leo Marquez Boulevard and First Avenue. There will be face painting, crafts, cookie decorating, and pictures with Santa Claus himself. At 6 o'clock, the winners of the holiday card contest will be given their awards. That's followed by the invocation, lighting of the tree, and the event is expected to wrap up around 7 in the evening. And the Grinch Gives Back, all right, this is good, it's taking place this Friday at the Event Center Ballroom on Shepherd Air Force Base. Now, this event is for those 18 and above and is open to permanent parties only. That's enlisted officers, DoD civilians, contractors, and retirees. It features over $15,000 in prizes and giveaways. It's pretty cool. Doors open at 5 o'clock on Friday. Drawings begin at 6:30. Seating for this event is limited to 250 people. Entry is free, and there will be walking tacos for purchase along with drink specials. Well, the War Department is looking to industry to find out how to quickly and cheaply produce 300,000 drones. That story and more is coming up next on Good Morning Fort Sill.
This 7 News broadcast is sponsored by Southwest Buick GMC. When the workday is wrapping up and you're ready to start your evening, get your news first. The first look at what's happening in your community.
First responders in Jefferson County worked to extinguish a semi-truck fire.
Your first look at weather approaching Texoma.
We're just going to see dry conditions, mostly sunny skies.
And your first glimpse of impacts for your day ahead.
A new scholarship program is coming to Oklahoma State.
You can even watch on the 7 News app from wherever you are.
Right now I'm here at 2nd and F.
Don't wait to see the news that affects you. Know first with 7 News at 4 p.m. KSWO and the Lawton Fort Sill community want to thank our service members and their families for their service and sacrifice. We are extremely proud of your courage, dedication, and daily commitment to protecting our freedoms. To recent graduates and their extended families, congratulations on your accomplishment and welcome to our community. Lawton Fort Sill is a unique area like no other in the country. With our strong working relationship with our armed forces, thank you for everything you do for us.
Every first matters. The first alarm, at first cup of coffee, and the first look at what the day could bring.
And 7 News is right here with you with your first alert.
Every first, every morning, we're here. 7 News, Good Morning Texoma. The KSWO 7 News app. Forecast with meteorologist Ulysses Garcia.
Welcome back, everyone, and looking at our Jackson County Memorial Hospital Tower Cam analysis. Overall, we're dealing with mostly clear to clear skies here on this early Wednesday morning. And looking at those temperatures, though, you can see, though, quite a bit of temperature spread. You can see 29 degrees in Elk City, and then everybody else is kind of a little more compacted, but definitely a little bit cooler off towards Frederick and Altus in the lower 30s, 37 here in Lawton, 36 in Duncan, 38 at the Falls, 42 Monday, 44 in Paducah. So definitely you can see a little of that fetch there, some of that milder air off towards the southwest. But in the meantime, though, we're also dealing with the fact that it's a little bit being aided a little bit by a warm front before a cold front pushes through. And we will see those winds change direction here as we go through the next couple of hours. So as we go throughout today, we'll have a mix of sun and clouds. So mostly sunny to eventually turning partly cloudy by the time we go into the afternoon. And as we progress here into tonight, we'll have mostly cloudy skies this evening. But then we could be dealing with a bit of a wintry mix as we go throughout the overnight hours. That's going to progress here as we go into tomorrow morning. And it's looking more the further north you go, the better opportunity we could see maybe a little bit of snow with some sleet mixed in. And then further south, we'll see a little bit more of a transition with rain. Things begin to improve in the afternoon. So this is kind of what we have it set up here with sleet and snow pretty much lying in points north. And then as you make your way towards a rain snow mix closer to the Red River, and then south of the Red River, it's going to be more in the form of a cold rain. Temperatures are going to be into those lower 30s here for your morning PT forecast before climbing into the 50s later on today.
The War Department is requesting information from commercial drone industry leaders on their ability to quickly and cheaply produce some 300,000 drones. This is in response to President Trump's June 6th Unleashing American Drone Dominance executive order, which outlined how the U.S. would up its drone game in both commercial and military sectors. With help from Congress, the department will initially focus on small attack drones. $1 billion from the Big Beautiful Bill will fund the manufacture of approximately 340,000 small drones for combat units over the course of 2 years. Well, earlier this year, the Army announced major structural changes to align with War Secretary Pete Hegseth's guidance, the first of which already happened with the merging of U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command and Army Futures Command to create the new Transformation and Training Command, or T2COM. The next big change will occur this week with the activation of U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command, which is the merging of U.S. Army Forces Command, U.S. Army North, and U.S. Army South into a single four-star operational headquarters. Once activated, the U.S. Army Western Hemisphere Command will serve as a theater army headquarters supporting two combatant commands, which is the U.S. Northern Command and U.S. Southern Command, focused on homeland defense, defense support of civilian authorities, and theater security cooperation across the Western Hemisphere. That activation ceremony is scheduled to happen this Friday, December 5th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. The ceremony will also be live streamed on U.S. Army Forces Command's Facebook page. Well, the search continues for a man swept out to sea off the California coast last week. The family of the Army specialist has now organized a private search in hopes of finding closure. Zoe Hunt spoke to the man's brother about their effort.
And every day, my first thought is, I wish my brother was right next to me.
Amanpreet Tin's brother, Gaganpreet Tin, is holding out hope that his brother will be found. Tin was an Army specialist studying multiple languages at the Defense Institute School in Monterey. On November 22nd, he was swept off the rocks and into the ocean at Soberana's Point. Since then, he has not been found.
We are not giving up. We are still searching for him.
After 5 full days in rough ocean conditions, local agencies had to call off their search efforts for Tin last week. But now his family is organizing a private search to pick up where it left off.
Hopefully, we can find him with all the helps we are getting.
A dive team equipped with sonar and big wave search and rescue jet ski operators were hired to help.
The 2 men that are out here searching today are at the highest level of jet ski operation. They're experts. They routinely do rescue operations up at Mavericks in Half Moon Bay, the surf spot.
The search also includes Angels diver Juan Heredia, who has volunteered to help the family for free. The family says he's been supporting them since day one.
I'll be honest with you. He's the main reason we are not losing hope. He's keeping the hope with the family, like, hey, we can find him. So I would say he's the main reason even why I'm still in California.
Gaganpreet says his brother should be remembered as an intelligent mind with an adventurous soul and a deep care for others.
He's that type of person. If you're in the same room as him, he will put other people in front of him, and then he will think about himself. We can't give up. My parents are 70 years old. They need a closure. And until we find him, there's no closure. So we really need to find him. And we're not going to give up until we actually find him. And I hope this does not take long. I hope we find him today, tomorrow, anytime soon.
When the workday is wrapping up and you're ready to start your evening, get your news first. The first look at what's happening in your community.
First responders in Jefferson County worked to extinguish a semi-truck fire.
Your first look at weather approaching Texoma.
We're just going to see dry conditions, mostly sunny skies.
And your first glimpse of impacts for your day ahead.
A new scholarship program is coming to Oklahoma State.
You can even watch on the 7 News app from wherever you are.
Right now I'm here at 2nd and F.
Don't wait to see the news that affects you. Know first with 7 News at 4 p.m. KSWO and the Lawton Fort Sill community want to thank our service members and their families for their service and sacrifice. We are extremely proud of your courage, dedication, and daily commitment to protecting our freedoms. To recent graduates and their extended families, congratulations on your accomplishment and welcome to our community. Lawton Fort Sill is a unique area like no other in the country. With our strong working relationship with our armed forces, thank you for everything you do for us.
Every first matters. The first alarm at first cup of coffee and the first look at what the day could bring.
And 7 News is right here with you with your first alert.
Every first, every morning, we're here. 7 News, Good Morning Texoma. The KSWO 7 News app.
Take a look at your national military headlines. In Louisiana, a flight instructor and a student are presumed dead a week after their plane crashed into Lake Pontchartrain. The two people on board have been identified as Navy officer Lieutenant David Michael Jan and flight instructor Taylor Dickey. They took off from Gulfport, Mississippi in a single-engine Cessna plane last Monday. They were headed to New Orleans but lost radio contact about 4 miles offshore. The owner of the flight school confirms that debris from the plane has been found in Lake Pontchartrain.
I don't know if they were able to get inside the fuselage or what the status is of the fuselage down there, but it is, it is pretty mangled.
The bodies have not been recovered. The crash is under investigation by the FAA and the NTSB. Well, members of the U.S. Air Force's 39th Contracting Squadron recently took part in a marksmanship event alongside Spanish and Turkish forces at an air base in Turkey. The Spanish-led exercise promoted shared readiness by bringing coalition members together to train, compete, and exchange techniques in a controlled environment or in a controlled range environment. Participants were able to sharpen their marksmanship skills while enhancing multinational cooperation. Taking a look at your good news. For over 20 years, the Trees for Troops program has been going strong across the country, and this year is no different. Trees for Troops is part of the Christmas Spirit Foundation. Last year, over 16,000 trees were delivered to 93 bases in the U.S. and across 5 branches of service, plus 1 National Guard center. Donated trees have already started being picked up across the country.
Being the holiday season, it puts a great, a smile on their face, knowing that this is going to go to some of these Marines' families, and when they're sitting around their Christmas tree, they'll probably be thinking about, hey, I helped put some trees in these folks' homes, these men and women that are serving our country.
Once the trees are at the base and unloaded, each base determines how and when to distribute the trees to their personnel. If you want to help out, you can head over to ChristmasSpiritFoundation.org and make a donation.
Alert forecast with meteorologist Ulysses Garcia.
Good morning, and looking over towards our Comanche Nation Entertainment Tower Cam and Medicine Park Aquarium. Overall, we're dealing with quiet conditions here on this early Wednesday, and those temperatures currently, though, we're dealing with mostly 30s, but as you can see off towards the southwest, we're dealing with 40s, 41 in Crowell, 44 in Paducah, 40 in Childress, 34 in Altus, 37 here in Lawton, 36 in Chickasha, and then the chilly spot overall is 29 in Elk City, 31 in Frederick. We do have a little bit of a warm front pushing through, but it's really the cold front that's really going to make the bigger headline, because that's going to change our wind direction for today, but also bring in the colder air for tomorrow. And then some of the activity that you see here off towards the west is kind of associated with a little bit of energy that's going to arrive as we go into the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. But for today, though, we are going to be dealing with, just for the most part, partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies. Then as we make our way into tonight, mostly cloudy, but then overnight, that's when we start introducing a bit of a wintry mix. It's going to be isolated in general, but then definitely notice how there's a little bit more of that wintry precip the further north you go. So the breakdown that we have here as we go into the overnight hours into your Thursday morning: sleet and snow north of Lawton and Altus and Duncan, and then we have rain and snow the further south you go. Cold rain as you make your way south of the river. For your PT forecast, we'll deal with pretty much 30s this morning. Today, 54 degrees. Tonight we'll drop down into the upper 20s, and then as we look ahead into the next 7 days, we'll see our temperatures 50s bouncing back Friday. That's going to carry on into early next week.
So it got a little bit of a dip, and then we're going to warm back up, maybe average out a little bit.
Yeah, we're finally going to start averaging out a bit.
There you
finally.
Go. That's good. Well, thanks for watching. Good morning, Fort Sill. You can check the 7 News app today for the latest updates and breaking news.